They say no one forgets the moment their life splits in two. For me, it came at 2:17 a.m. My phone buzzed once, then again, then 5 more times in rapid succession. By the time I was fully awake, the word hospital glared across the screen. I am Daniel Harper. Location, Chicago. Daniel, the voice cracked through the static. This is Dr. Reyes, your brother Adam. He's in renal failure, stage 5. He doesn't have long without a transplant. I sat up in bed. Renal failure? Adam and I weren't as close as we used to be, but we were still brothers. He was the golden child growing up. Charismatic, athletic, always mom's favorite. I was the quiet one, analytical, stuck in my own head. But there was a time we shared everything. A bedroom, secrets, broken bicycles, and bloodied knees. He was the first person I ever told I wanted to be a writer. He laughed and said I'd never make money doing that. He wasn't wrong. I didn't hesitate. Test me, I told the doctor. If I'm a match, he gets my kidney. The weeks that followed blurred. Blood draws, cross-matching, evaluations, ethics boards. Turns out, I was a perfect match. The doctors were surprised, but didn't question it. Neither did I. Why would I? We were brothers. Of course we'd match. Adam didn't cry when I told him. He just looked away and said, "You don't have to do this, man." "I know," I replied. "That's why it matters." Surgery was scheduled for the following month. I told no one outside of immediate family, not because I was ashamed, but because I didn't want applause for doing what was right. I remember the sterile smell of the OR, the buzz of fluorescent lights above, the chill that settled over me as they counted backward from 10. When I woke up, my side was on fire. But my first thought wasn't the pain, it was the question. Is he okay? They said he was, stable, alive, breathing with my kidney inside him. That night, lying in a hospital bed, IV line in one arm, and numbness spreading down my back, I smiled. I had given him life. Again. But the thing about saving someone's life is, you don't always know what part of them you're saving. Sometimes, you bring a lie back from the edge of death. The surgeon said, "You saved your brother's life." I smiled, not knowing the man I saved had stolen mine years ago. I woke up to the sound of a blood pressure cuff hissing. The nurse was humming softly to herself, checking my chart. "Vitals are good," she said, smiling. "You're healing faster than expected." I tried to smile back, but my side was still raw. Then she paused. "We just need one more confirmation sample. Some of your records had inconsistencies with the pre-op blood work." I frowned. "Inconsistencies? It's nothing," she added quickly. "Probably just a system mismatch on blood type records. Happens more often than you'd think." I nodded, but something about her tone bothered me. I'd worked in logistics for nearly a decade. Inconsistencies are never nothing. Later that day, as I rested in the private recovery room, I pulled out my phone. There was a missed call from Mom, a text from a colleague, and buried at the bottom, an automated email from my old Gmail account, a backup reminder from 2012. Subject, DNA test receipt. I stared at it for a full minute before opening it. Buried in the attachments was a scanned PDF. Ancestry Check Genetic Services, confidential report. I remembered this. It was one of those at-home tests. I'd done it for fun. Adam and I had joked about our family tree over beers. He encouraged me to do it. Said it would be cool to confirm we're 100% Irish meatheads. At the time, I remembered showing him the test. He laughed, said, "Yup, you and me, same dad, same bad hairline." But now, I looked again, really looked, and something didn't add up. The report said, "Paternity result excluded." I blinked. Read it again. Based on the provided samples, the tested male is not the biological son of the alleged father. Final status, 0.0% probability of paternity. I sat up too quickly, pain shooting through my ribs. My mind raced. Why hadn't I noticed this back then? I vaguely remembered showing the test to Adam, but not reading it in detail. He told me it was normal, that all tests had weird legal phrasing. I believed him, because why wouldn't I? He was my brother, wasn't he? I stared at the screen again. The sender's address was authentic. The report date matched exactly with when I remembered taking the test. There was no update, no correction, just one undeniable truth. According to this, I wasn't our dad's son, but that wasn't what I'd been told. Adam had told me the opposite, said our father cried when he got the confirmation. What confirmation? And why would a man who knew I wasn't his son leave me in his will? A chill crept over my skin. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't just blood. This was intentional. I gave my brother my kidney, but suddenly I wasn't sure he ever gave me the truth, or if he'd ever seen me as family at all. Recovery should have been about rest. Instead, it became an autopsy of my own identity. The DNA report haunted me. I read it 10 times a day. I didn't tell anyone. Not Mom, not Adam. I needed answers before accusations. I started by revisiting what I remembered from 2012. I'd ordered the test as a joke after watching a crime doc. Back then, DNA kits were trending. Ancestry games. Find your roots. I hadn't cared much about it. Not until Adam got really interested. He kept asking, "So, what did it say? You and I, same blood, right? Did Dad cry when you told him?" Funny thing is, I didn't remember ever telling Dad, because Adam told me he had. Back then, I brushed it off, trusted the messenger. But now I saw it differently. I dug through my old hard drive, hunting for emails or scans I may have saved. Buried in a 2012 folder named Random Crap, I found a photo I took of the physical test result. Same date, same wording. Paternity excluded. Identical. No corrections. No updates. No second envelope. So what did Adam show me? Because what I remembered then was a crisp printout. One that said something completely different. 99.99% confirmed. Biological match, Daniel Harper and Richard Harper. It had our dad's name on it, but the file I had now didn't. Something didn't add up. I wasn't the only one who had access to my test at the time. Back then, Adam handled most of Dad's medical paperwork. He had access to the family computer. He was the organized one. If anyone had a reason or ability to forge a result. I pulled out an old USB drive I'd labeled Dad Legal Docs. Inside, tax returns, scanned wills, insurance forms, and one PDF labeled Daniel DNA Result Final.pdf. It wasn't the same file as mine. Different font, cleaner formatting. Metadata said it was created 4 days after I got my original email. Created by Adam.Harper. And that's when the fog cleared. He had doctored the results. Not to hurt me, not directly, but to make me believe something that wasn't true. That Richard Harper, our dad, was my biological father. Why? To protect me? To control me? To keep me in the will? Or worse, to use me? Suddenly, the transplant didn't feel noble anymore. It felt like I'd saved a man who once rewrote my blood to suit his narrative. And the more I thought about it, the more I began to wonder, was Adam trying to help me? Or own me? I believed we shared a father, but I was just reading from a script Adam wrote. And now, it was time to find out how long he'd been directing the show. When you suspect your entire life was built on a lie, you don't sleep. You dissect, you document, and then you go to the source. That's how I ended up outside the glass-paneled building of Horizon Genetics, holding a folder filled with questions. The receptionist raised an eyebrow when I told her what I needed. A test from 2012. That's over a decade ago. I handed her a printed copy of the original report from my email. I just want confirmation that this is the only version that ever existed. She disappeared into the back. 15 minutes later, a woman in a lab coat appeared. Early 50s, tired eyes, but sharp posture. "Mr. Harper, I'm Dr. Liu. You've stirred up quite the archive." We sat in a private consultation room. She booted up an old backup server and typed something in. "Sample ID, DNCH 458302. Collected, April 23rd, 2012. She clicked. Result, paternity excluded. Final status, 0.0% biological relationship to alleged father, Richard Harper. She turned the screen toward me. There was no correction, no retest, no override. I stared at the screen. Same result, still 0.00%. I leaned back in the chair. So the version Adam had shown me, the 99.99% match, was never in the system. It was a fake. Dr. Liu hesitated before adding, "We sometimes have clients come in asking why a result doesn't match what a family member told them. It happens more than you'd think. And what happens to those families? Some break, others lie better." I left without another word. Back home, I sat at my kitchen counter, every light off except for the glow of my laptop. I reopened the fake PDF again. This time, I right-clicked. Properties, details, metadata created, May 1st, 2012. Author, adam.harperwestnet.org, modified, May 3rd, 2012. Printer, HP OfficeJet. Mom's old machine. The same week, Adam had handed me the printout. He made the file. He showed it to me. He said Dad cried. Dad never even saw it. I suddenly remembered something else. The family lawyer had updated Dad's will shortly after I received that fake report. Dad had included me, explicitly, as biological son. That clause gave me equal inheritance, equal stake, equal say. That clause was based on a lie. And now, I had already given Adam something far more valuable than any inheritance: my kidney. I stared at the scar across my side, and for the first time, I wondered if the wrong person had lived. The lab told me the truth never changed, but Adam changed the story, and now I would change everything else. I told Adam I was stopping by to bring him a smoothie. He laughed over the phone. "You're still babying me, man. I'm fine." "Yeah, well," I replied, "this is payback for all the times you made me clean your room growing up." He chuckled. Doors open. It was the same townhouse he'd lived in since Dad passed. Modern, tidy, a little too sterile. Adam wasn't home. He'd gone to physical therapy that morning. I had 20 minutes. I didn't go in angry. I went in methodical. Notebooks, drawers, filing cabinets. Nothing. I was about to give up when I noticed a shelf of hardcover law thrillers. John Grisham, Baldacci. Perfectly aligned. Too perfectly. I pulled one out. It was hollow. Inside, a USB stick, black and unlabeled. Bingo. Back home, I plugged it into a burner laptop, just in case. Folders loaded. Wills and estate, Dad, Med Records, Daniel Docs. That last one made my chest tighten. I opened it. Inside, 3 files. Daniel, DNA, original.jpg. Daniel, DNA, corrected.pdf. Metadata, notes, txt. I opened the PDF first. It was the fake test, the same one Adam gave me in 2012. The one that said Dad was my biological father. Then the image file, a screenshot of the real DNA result, matching what I'd gotten from Horizon Genetics. Finally, the text file. Used Adobe to rebuild PDF. Swapped font to match Ancestry Check's header. Embedded fake signature. Modified metadata. Should be untraceable if he doesn't go looking. Just need him to believe it until Dad signs. The timestamp, April 29th, 2012. 3 days before Dad updated the will. I leaned back in my chair. There it was, the smoking gun. Adam had faked the test. Not just to protect me, not to comfort me, but to influence Dad's will while he was dying. He made me believe I was Richard Harper's son, so I wouldn't question my place in the inheritance, so Dad wouldn't either. He told a beautiful lie, then let me live inside it for over a decade. And now I had proof and a scar across my side to remind me what it cost. He rewrote my DNA with Photoshop and persuasion. I rewrote his fate with one USB stick. Now the truth was mine, and soon everything else would be too. I didn't plan to confront her that night, but some truths rot in your chest if you don't cut them out fast. Mom answered the door in her robe, her eyes widening when she saw me. Daniel, what's wrong? Can we talk? Inside. Her living room hadn't changed since Dad passed. Still smelled faintly of cinnamon candles and fading grief. She poured tea. I didn't touch it. Did you know I wasn't Dad's biological son? I asked. She froze. A teacup clinked against porcelain. What are you talking about? Don't lie, I said flatly. I found the original DNA test from 2012. I wasn't supposed to see it, but Adam made sure I saw the fake one. Her face drained of color. She sat down slowly, her hands trembling. It was complicated. No, Mom, it was calculated. I never wanted to hurt you, she whispered. It was just one night. Before your father and I got serious, I thought it wouldn't matter. And when it did, she looked at me, old, smaller than I remembered, not cruel, just cowardly. When Richard was dying, Adam came to me. He said he had a plan. He didn't want you to lose your place. He loved you, Daniel. He loved me so much. He lied to my face. She covered her mouth with both hands. He said you wouldn't survive, losing both your father and your name. I laughed bitterly. So instead, I lived a lie for 12 years, gave my kidney to the man who rewrote my life like a college essay. And you let him. She started to cry, but I didn't. I'd done enough bleeding. Did Dad know? I asked. She shook her head. No. He died believing you were his. Thanks to Adam's magic trick. I stood up. The tea had gone cold. So had my heart. At the door, she grabbed my sleeve. Daniel, please, don't hate him. He did it to protect you. I turned. He didn't protect me, Mom. He possessed me. I thought the betrayal ended with Adam, but it ran deeper, into the roots of our family tree. They planted a lie, and now I was ready to pull it out by the root. Adam thought he was safe, and why wouldn't he? He had my kidney, my trust, my silence. What he didn't realize was that I stopped being his brother the moment I found that USB stick. From then on, I became something else, his quiet undoing. I started with a lawyer, not the family one Adam knew, an independent litigator, quiet, discreet, ruthless. We reviewed Dad's will together, line by line, and then we filed a motion under seal. Request for conditional nullification of testamentary language under false pretenses. A mouthful. But in short, we were challenging my inclusion in the will because it was based on a fraudulent DNA report. A report Adam created. You realize, the lawyer said, if the clause is voided, it affects your own inheritance too. I'm not doing this for money, I replied. I'm doing it to burn the paper his lies were written on. Next, I hired a private investigator. Not for surveillance, for timeline reconstruction. I wanted every file Adam touched, every email sent, every digital breadcrumb tied to the 2012 forgery. What the PI found shocked even me. May 1st, 2012, Adam uploads forged PDF to cloud drive. May 2nd, 2012, sends email to mom. Daniel believes it. He won't ask more. May 3rd, 2012, schedules meeting with family lawyer to review DNA confirmation. May 4th, 2012, dad signs will update. Adam thought he was safe, and why wouldn't he? He had my kidney, my trust, my silence. What he didn't realize was that I stopped being his brother the moment I found that USB stick. From then on, I became something else, his quiet undoing. I started with a lawyer, not the family one Adam knew, an independent litigator, quiet, discreet, ruthless. We reviewed Dad's will together, line by line, and then we filed a motion under seal. Request for conditional nullification of testamentary language under false pretenses. A mouthful, but in short, we were challenging my inclusion in the will because it was based on a fraudulent DNA report, a report Adam created. You realize, the lawyer said, if the clause is voided, it affects your own inheritance too. I'm not doing this for money, I replied. I'm doing it to burn the paper his lies were written on. Next, I hired a private investigator, not for surveillance, for timeline reconstruction. I wanted every file Adam touched, every email sent, every digital breadcrumb tied to the 2012 forgery. What the PI found shocked even me. May 1st, 2012. Adam uploads forged PDF to cloud drive. May 2nd, 2012. Sends email to mom. Daniel believes it. He won't ask more. May 3rd, 2012. Schedules meeting with family lawyer to review DNA confirmation. May 4th, 2012. Dad signs will update. He choreographed it like a symphony. Every note timed, every signature placed, every truth buried. Now, it was my turn to compose a piece of my own. I started leaking small things to the right people, an anonymous email to a local journalist, story idea, how a fake DNA test changed a dead man's will, a meeting with Horizon Genetics legal team. Would your company like to review an identity fraud case involving your brand name? And one email to Adam himself, just a single sentence. The truth has a heartbeat now, just like my kidney. I didn't need revenge to be loud. I just needed it to be legal, traceable, final. He used my blood to keep a lie alive, but I was done bleeding. Now, I would let the system cut him open with surgical precision. They say legacies are built over lifetimes, but they can crumble in weeks. The court accepted my motion, quietly, discreetly. No hearing yet, but it was on the record now. A critical clause in the Richard Harper estate may have been influenced by falsified medical documentation, which triggered a freeze. Adam's access to the trust fund suspended. His investment firm flagged for a full audit. The condo he was refinancing in Florida declined. All because a lie buried in 2012 had just come up for air in 2025. And I wasn't done yet. The journalist replied to my anonymous tip. "Is this real?" she asked. "Fake DNA, forged inheritance, a brother saving another while being betrayed?" "It's all real," I wrote. "I gave him my kidney. He gave me a false identity." She ran the story as a blind item first. Bloodlines and bank accounts. The inheritance fraud no one saw coming. Within 48 hours, it was all over Reddit, legal blogs, even a morning show. People speculated names, lawyers whispered behind doors. One firm pulled out of a partnership with Adam's company. 2 clients dropped him. And through it all, I stayed silent. I watched him unravel piece by piece. And not once did I raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth was loud enough. Mom called me, voice shaking. "Why are you doing this?" "I'm not doing anything," I said. "I'm just showing people what he did. Isn't that what you always taught us? Own your actions." She didn't answer. I forwarded the USB files to the family attorney. His response came in under 5 minutes. "We need to talk." "Good. Let's talk. Let's talk about how Adam edited my DNA like a resume. Let's talk about how he built his future on a false brotherhood. Let's talk about how I gave him life. And now I was taking back everything that came with it. I didn't break the legacy. I just peeled off the mask. And underneath Adam's empire was nothing but borrowed blood and stolen truth." He texted me first. "We need to talk. In person." I didn't reply, so he showed up at my apartment the next morning. I didn't open the door. 2 days later, I found a note under my windshield. "Meet me where we used to race bikes, just once, please." I stood on that bridge for 20 minutes before he arrived. His face was pale, thinner, eyes sunken from stress or guilt. "Dan," he started. I didn't speak. He took a shaky breath. "I know what you've done, with the will, the articles, the lawyer." "Not even close," I said flatly. "You're destroying everything. I'm correcting everything." He stepped closer, hands open, like he was approaching a wounded animal. "I didn't do it to hurt you." I let out a dry laugh. "You forged a DNA test, rewrote our father's will, and let me believe a lie for 12 years. But sure, tell me it was for my benefit." His voice cracked. "I didn't want to lose you, not as my brother." "Then maybe you shouldn't have built our bond on fraud."